Fort Wayne, he's coming back. Lord Blood-Rah will host two big events Saturday, October 22nd. First, a meet and greet at Stoner's Fun Store, the home of funny, goofy crap, from noon to 3 p.m. Meet Lord Blood-Rah, get signed photos, t-shirts, and shop Stoner's incredible selection of Halloween costumes, masks, jokes, and magic tricks. Then, after dark, it's Lord Blood-Rah's Wrackin Theater live at the Cinema Center. Lord Blood-Rah will host the Boris Karloff rarity, The Ghoul, along with a selection of spooky Halloween short subjects, and much more. It's all happening Saturday, October 22nd. Stoner's Fun Store meet and greet, noon to 3 p.m. Lord Blood-Rah's Wrackin Theater live at the Cinema Center at 9 p.m. Get tickets for the live show at cinemacenter.org.
Gilbert, what are you doing all day in a cave? Oh, I know. You're waiting for the next broadcast of Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wracking Theater.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
Welcome to Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wracking Theater.
My lords and ladies, geeks, geekarellas, geekulas, and geekaritas. I am Lord Blood-Rah, and this is Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin Theater. And tonight we pay a visit to the sleepy little seaside town of Point Dune. Scenic beaches, quaint shops, lovely sunsets, and a blood-red moon that portends madness. Tonight we have a tale of insane evil forcing its way into our sane, sedate reality. Written by William Hewitt and Gloria Katz, the writing team behind the screenplays for American Graffiti, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Howard the Duck. Tonight, it's the 1973 love letter to H.P. Lovecraft, Messiah of Evil. Without further ado, I give to you a garish tale of ghouls and gore. Here is Messiah of Evil.
I gave my message to the wind. I told my story to the sea. No one else is listening to me. The hidden truth clear in my mind. Soon all alone I will not find. Somehow, somewhere, someone may hear me. Hold on to love. Hold on to love. But beware of men who became beasts of prey. Many are they. Child without a soul, men without a heart. They're one hungry goal to tear your life apart. Now many are they. Don't try to find out.
our dreams perverted. I've told them here it wasn't a nightmare, but they don't believe me. They nod and make little notes in my file, and they watch me now, waiting for me to scar my breasts, to eat insects maybe, or to lift my dress like some crazy old woman and urinate on the floor. But there's so little time left. You've got to listen. Not far from here, there's a small town on the coast. They used to call it New Bethlehem, but they changed the name to Point Dune after the moon turned blood red. Point Dune doesn't look any different than 1,000 other neon stucco towns. But what happened there, what they did to me, what they're doing now, they're coming here. They're waiting at the edge of the city. They're peering around buildings at night. And they're waiting. They're waiting for you. And they'll take you one by one, and no one will hear you scream. No one will hear you scream!
I went there looking for my father. He used to spend winters in Point Dune painting. Then, after my mother died, he stayed, and his letters became our only contact. Until recently, when his letters became more and more bizarre and finally stopped.
I have little time now. I can't write again. You mustn't worry. And please, you must promise not to follow me. I'm afraid to see people anymore. It's better that I wait alone for it to come.
Sound like dogs.
Has to be dogs.
That's Point Dune ahead, isn't it?
Why do you want to go to Point Dune?
I'm visiting somebody there.
I can't understand why anybody would want to go to Point Dune visiting.
You forgot.
Hello there. Fill her up?
$2. No knock.
Yes, sir. Machine's broke, lady. Don't you have any cash?
Well, no, but this is...
That's all right. Forget it.
Oh.
Get out! Get your stamps?
Here's to you, faithful Harbinger guy. You're the man who works at the gas station that lies right on the border between safety and mind-numbing chaos, warning the foolhardy not to enter. But they always do. They never listen. All of your "I can't understand why you'd want to go there" and acting squirrely just falls on deaf ears. And what's the thanks you get for all of your concern? You're the first one to get killed. Here's to you, Harbinger guy, for making creepy movies that much creepier. Oh, and speaking of creepy.
Please leave your eyes at the door. You will not need them.
Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin Auditorium presents the best of old-time radio, horror, and science fiction. Tales of terror and the uncanny that unfold on the stage of your imagination. Come experience the magic of old-time radio horror. Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin Auditorium is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and other podcast providers. Lord Blood-Rah's Nerve-Wrackin Auditorium, when you seek the darkness.
Why'd you set up the brake? Because I can use you. This machine utilizes X-ray, ultraviolet, and alpha, beta, and omega rays.
This man is a killer. Mad with dreams of fantastic power.
We're conducting experiments requiring fissionable materials. That's atom bomb stuff. The government has that locked up tighter than Fort Knox. You work for us faithfully, or you'll be turned over to the authorities. I understand there's a reward of $5,000 on your head.
No money is safe. No man is safe. Nothing stops the amazing transparent man. Into army-guarded secret government vaults he goes, stealing confidential nuclear material, holding in his unseen hands the key to world power. But the amazing transparent man wants first vengeance.
If I choke you hard enough, you'll bring me back.
Beautiful girls and one lone man struggling for survival, with death Sudden, violent, and horrible, lurking in the shadows.
Horrors of Spider Island.
Out of the night came a fate worse than death. A man's mind twisted, his brain poisoned, with an uncontrollable lust to kill.
Horrors of Spider Island.
A tale of terror that will leave you limp. So hideous and shocking, you won't believe your eyes. His hunger for victims was never satisfied. Prepare to be frightened out of your wits by the
Horrors of Spider Island.
Visions are coming from areas of my mind that I don't understand. July 2nd. These grotesque images keep crowding in on me. At night I find myself wandering alone in town, catching glimpses of horrid animals I I know can't be there. And along the dark beach, faces haunt me. Pale women with sleepless eyes and shadowy figures staring toward the black water.
I drove into town late in the morning. It was hot already. I saw an art gallery and I thought they might know my father. The art dealer was blind. Her fingers moved like a pale spider over my face.
Do I know who he is? We do get magazines in Point Dume, which some of us can even read.
Well, I meant I'm looking for him. And I thought maybe you knew him personally.
Point Dume isn't an artist colony. I heard he did take people out there, mostly women, but they weren't from Point Dume. There were some people in this morning looking for your father, which means some people do like his brand of art.
Who were they?
I don't know. Strangers. I think they're staying at the Seven Seas.
As old as the hills. Mama delivered me herself. Just about to feed me to the chickens. And Daddy said, maybe we could use a boy, Lottie. That's how I came into the world.
Excuse me. They said at the gallery that you were looking for Joseph Lang. He's my father, and I just...
Just come in and close the door.
All I want to know is if you knew...
Close the door. Go ahead, Charlie.
It's hard to remember back on things, but I remember the red moon my daddy told me about, only once. Mama gave him a bad look when he talked about it. He was only a boy himself then. She called it the blood moon. He said that was the night that he lost religion. He learned that men could do horrible things. Like animals.
I'm really hungry. I've got the munchies.
Shut up. Go ahead, Charlie. What about the moon?
100 years ago, the moon started turning red up in the sky and things began to happen. It was like the red of the moon got up there, the closer the people were being jerked toward hell, where the people started bleeding out of control. They found children eating raw meat. It was like the town was festering with an open sore until the night that they came down out of the canyon. And
who came down, Charlie?
I gotta go.
Charlie. Take the wine, Charlie.
Well, thanks for your kindly hospitality.
People bleeding out of control, children eating raw meat, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Sounds like some real Old Testament stuff went down in Point Dume about 100 years ago. Things seem quiet enough now, though. Well, other than the rather disturbing-looking guy with the pickup truck full of bodies. And, of course, the Harbinger guy at the gas station getting killed. But every little town has its quirks. And sadly, Every show must have its commercials.
All the cool things.
You want
all the cool things.
But where can you find
all the cool things?
It's all right here at Novemberfire.com. All the cool t-shirts, all the cool DVDs, all the cool masks. Be extra cool and tell them Lord Blood-Rah sent you.
All the cool things
at Novemberfire.com.
When an animal attacks a human, there's bound to be a lot of noise.
But I, as a scientist, take many things into consideration a layman might overlook.
Ever smelled anything like this before? Found it in Don Morton's bathroom.
Well, yes. That's the same stuff that's been on every one of the devil bat's victims.
All four of the murdered people had this lotion on them when the devil bat struck.
Layton, I'm afraid all these murders have affected your mind.
Now, my plan is to sit in the garden, and when the killer makes one of those power dives, I'll blast him.
Tonight you have work to do. It's time you were on your way.
Super Shocker number 1, Dr. Macabre's Frightmare of Movie Monsters. Imagine seeing almost all the screen's scariest monsters alive, in person. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Teenage Frankenstein, Daughter of Dracula, The Fly, a man's body, a fly's head. Rodan, the flying monster, the colossal beast, and more, many more, never here before. Plus, Super Shocker number 2, Spooks A-Poppin', a thrilling new idea in spook shows. We double dare you to see this double header of super monstrous, superhuman, super shockers in person on the stage. Spider Island. 8 beautiful girls and 1 lone man struggling for survival, with death, sudden, violent, and horrible, lurking in the shadows. Horrors of Spider Island. Out of the night came a fate worse than death. A man's mind twisted, his brain poisoned, with an uncontrollable lust to kill. Horrors of Spider Island. A tale of terror that will leave you limp. So hideous and shocking, you won't believe your eyes. His hunger for victims was never satisfied. Prepare to be frightened out of your wits by the Horrors of Spider Island.
I'm looking for my father. Do you know him?
I know of him.
They told me at the gallery.
We drove by the gallery this morning. I happened to see how this works in the window. I didn't know that he lived here.
They didn't have any of his paintings there.
Well, that's popularity. Because they did this morning. I offered to buy one, and the old woman said they weren't for sale. As a matter of fact, it was a portrait of you.
Tom likes to collect things.
Like old trunks.
Old-fashioned retort.
What's a retort?
Tony, you're half girl, half child, and half wit.
Sit on it, sister.
Don't be afraid. I'm an ugly old man, but I'm harmless. It's about your daddy. They mustn't hear me. I got him fooled. I get drunk, sleep on the sidewalk like a dog, and they let me be. I ain't crazy. Hello, Charlie.
What about my father?
You have to kill him.
You're crazy.
You can't bury him. Don't put him in the ground. You gotta burn him. You gotta put fire to his body.
The afternoon town asking about my father. The reaction was always the same. People would only stare or shake their heads and back away.
July 6th. Our Letty called this morning. I listened to her, but couldn't let her know I was here. My voice would have terrified her. At times, I make noises which don't seem human. And my mind is letting go. I try to remember the past, my daughter, but I can't. Instead, I think of death. Always death.
What are you doing here?
It was so comfortable, I didn't want to wake you. You're very pretty when you sleep.
I'm going to take a nap. Want to come?
Later.
You can't stay here.
Just for the night. I'm willing to pay. We had a little trouble at the motel. You remember the old gentleman who was telling us the story?
Of course I do. He was mad.
Perhaps. But when they found him this afternoon, he was dead. The police came and questioned us. Needless to say, they weren't very understanding, what with me and my two traveling companions. And then suddenly, every other motel locked and shuttered its windows. You're the only other person we know.
What happened to the old man?
They found his body in the alley. He must have passed out or something. The police theorized that it must have been dogs. Well, they found his body half-eaten.
I let them stay. I never understood why. It was as if I'd come into a foreign town where I didn't speak the language and was sharing a house with people I'd have never met in my other life.
Would you like some more?
Yes, thank you.
This wind is strange.
It's like the Sirocco. It blows across the Mediterranean from Africa. I was born in Portugal, in a castle.
I thought it was a villa in Spain.
My mother was a Portuguese, aristocrat. My father was rich and American. I have a castle that stands above the sea. One of our legends tells it.
Tom, what are we doing in this place?
I don't know, really. As I was saying, every race has their legends. The Romans, the Greeks, even the folk here in Point Dune had their stories. I'm interested in their story about the blood moon. Doing here?
He didn't know anybody here. He could paint.
Has your father been painting long?
Laura's quite the art critic. She used to model. Photographers mostly. She specialized in exotic poses with snakes.
Oh, Tom just gets so clever when he's trying to get into somebody's pants. Listen, when you go to bed with him tonight, why don't you let him?
Laura, I am tired of having to apologize for you.
He said he was a collector of old legends. He thought my father knew something of the legend of Point Dune. I told him my father wasn't here. He said they could wait.
Like monsters? Like horror? Like sci-fi? You'll love Maniac Monster Designs. Stickers, enamel pins, patches, magnets, tees, pillows. Maniac Monster Designs for everything retro, spooky, and fun. You'll find Maniac Monster Designs on eBay, Facebook, Instagram, and at maniacmonsters.com. Now you can have cool monster designs anytime, anywhere with Maniac Monster Designs.
From ancient Genesis to the modern screen is the name written in blood. Ega!
If I could just call you on the phone. The code of the ghost got the sign of the toad. Nobody lives on the Brownsville Road.
Thrill to the newest recording star, Archibald Jr.
Oh, they're screaming this way.
See ravishing Marilyn Manning in a thrilling, chilling story. The last of the prehistoric giants sees his first girl. Noah. And Curious new newsmen searched deep in giant country for the last of the ancient cavemen. See a tough giant tamed by the soft hands of his captive woman. See him sacrifice his ageless beard for her love. Then lose her to a boy in a dune buggy, escaping a burning desert. Igor's primitive passion was love or kill. Hear Igor talk, the ancient language of love, used at the beginning of time. See Igor!
You are invited to join the Banshees, the werewolves, the vampires, the gooks, who are all coming to our Halloween convention of spooks. You'll enjoy this lively group if your blood doesn't end up in the soup. Practice your screams. Break out your shrouds. Tighten your nerves. And join the crowds at our convention of spooks.
Larry!
From the exotic geisha houses of Tokyo to the back alleys of the Ginza Strip comes the terrifying news of a fiendish creature that threatens to destroy all who stand in his way. This is the frightening story of an American reporter in Tokyo who unwittingly became the victim of a shocking scientific experiment that turned him into a horrible mutant, half man, half monster, the Manster.
He got away. I think I know where he's going, to Taras. Follow me. Right.
There's panic in the streets as the unheard-of terror of a half-man, half-monster runs wild through the city. There he goes! Don't miss The Manster, a genuine thriller in the most frightening sense of the word.
How long? Forever. That's a long time. Why? Because I'm tired. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of this place. He didn't get lost, you know. He came here on purpose. And why the hell Point Doom? Like the beach? Maybe you could learn to body surf. He's just farting around with us. Yeah, we'll let him fart around. I'm going to San Francisco. Mickey will take me in. Who's Mickey? He's a drummer. What about me? You're just a kid. You'll be all right. too many lines.
on aisle 3. Bring them on. Cancel that cleanup. Looks like they got it all.
Please leave your eyes at the door. You will not need them.
Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking auditorium presents the best of old-time radio, horror, and science fiction. Tales of terror and the uncanny that unfold on the stage of your imagination. Come experience the magic of old-time radio horror. Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking auditorium is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and other podcast providers. Lord Blood-Rah's nerve-wracking auditorium, when you seek the darkness.
From the depths of hell comes The Devil's Messenger, starring the master of mystery Lon Chaney and Karen Cannon.
If you give my message, you'd have to go back. Up there.
Oh, I can't. I won't go back.
You deliver that to a Mr. Donald Powell. Don't be afraid of me.
The Devil's Messenger delivers gifts from hell, turning man into a ravaging beast.
I took a picture of that old farmhouse. There's nobody in the picture. You saw it. Was there anybody in it?
No, there wasn't.
Somebody has come out of that house, and they're coming toward me.
Back from the dead, his lovely victim seeks revenge for her horrible death at the hands of a man driven mad by a gift from hell. Trapped in her icy tomb until the Devil's Messenger exposed her nakedness in her crystal prison.
Now let's get down to here.
She becomes the object of a scientist's lust. His consuming desire for her drives him to commit murder to keep her for himself. Not since Eve received the apple have gifts inflicted such unnatural consequences.
Tonight at midnight, you will be dead.
Just how do you intend to kill me?
I have no idea. I don't even know you.
The crystal ball foreshadows doom, for it is the plaything of the devil, and only he can change the events it foresees. You must see what the Devil's Messenger has in store for you.
Out of the depths of darkness rises Garganta, the true king of monsters. He's on his way alive, in person, to scare the yell out of you. Garganta on the stage in Dr. Siltini's giant triple Scream Show for the first time on any stage. The stage show that brought you the Frankenstein monster in person now brings you direct from Hollywood, Garganta, the giant gorilla of the universe, alive and in person, in a 3-hour performance filled with more chills, thrills, laughs than you ever experienced in this century. It is engrossing, exciting, fascinating, filled with tense climaxes, gripping scenes, beautiful starlets. Yes, it's Garganta, this wild, inhuman menace, this 782 pounds of dynamite that makes Kong the gorilla look like a monkey. And that's not all. During the dark seance when all the lights are dim, ghosts, spirits, and vampires descend into the audience, you may find yourself holding a ghost, your girl, or someone else's girl. So watch out when the lights go out. But as Mae West would say, it'll separate the men from the boys. In New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, critics have proclaimed this stage attraction to be the show you must not miss. Even though it's a stage presentation to send you home in frantic flight, there are also some very eye-appealing scenes created by these beautiful Hollywood starlets in gorgeous costumes designed by Adrian.
This one has plenty of fight in him.
Never
Never before has man been transformed into such hideous proportions. Never have teenage girls been subjected to the terrifying ordeal in the fantastic room of torture. Prisoners on this island of the mad must fight desperately to preserve a sane and conscious mind. This strange and powerful story has been acclaimed as the most terrifying of all time, as it bursts forth the unequaled horror of an island of monsters created by a human beast.
July 17th. I dread the night coming on now. The fires on the beach are more numerous, and more of them are coming out at night from the town. It's more horrifying than I expected. A crazy old man told me a story today about Point Dume a century ago, and a dark stranger arriving, and the monstrous things that happened to people when he came.
I felt like I was losing control.
Losing control. It's not nightmares any longer, but something like a sickness that's still there with the sunrise. I think my body is being taken over by some unspeakable evil that's turning me into...
don't know what else to do. Nobody in town knows him. I don't know where else he'd go.
Arletty, I think you should leave here.
That's a great idea. Why don't you both leave? Then maybe I could get a little sleep.
Said it must have been a mental problem. They had picked up my father twice in town. He was found wandering around before dawn. He never knew where he was, what he was doing in the dark streets. And then people reported seeing him on the beach, building a huge sculpture. The tide must have collapsed it on top of him.
July 20th. If the cities of the world were destroyed tomorrow, they would all be rebuilt to look like Point June. Entirely normal. Quiet. Silent, though, because of the shared horror in common. I know it's hiding now beneath its stucco skin.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now. How is she? I remember the night my father died. He was coming home from work, drunk. People started bleeding out of control. They found children eating raw meat. And it was like the town was festering with an open sore until the night that they... We're never going to leave this place, are we? Until the night they came down out of the canyon and...
Welcome to a night of total terror. Night of the living dead, the dead who live on living flesh. The dead whose haunted souls hunt the living. The living whose bodies are the only food for these ungodly creatures. Night of the living dead. A bizarre adventure in fear. An experience in shock, more shattering than your strangest nightmare. Night of the living dead. A night with the dead who cannot die. A night of total terror. Night of the living dead.
Everybody, but everybody, is going to our Ghost a Go-Go show. Already the spooks are swinging, the witches are winging, the haunts are on the move. The monsters are swaying, the ghosts are saying, come on, get in the groove. And come to our rock and roll Ghost a Go-Go show. It's a zany mixture of spooks and music with the beat. You may rock with chills or roll with the combos. But whatever you do, you'll have the time of your young life at our Ghost a Go-Go show. It's new, it's different, it's tough.
Science has learned that all people possess mental powers which pass the boundaries of the natural. This is the story of a man confronted by such strange forces within himself. At this moment, he is looking at a thing of evil, a thing that takes possession of the mind and compels it to kill.
I destroyed them. Something in me killed them.
Seven pins went in, and the 7 people died. Not 1, 7. Who put in those pins? You did, all 7. Maps and pins can't kill alone. The power of a human brain has to be behind them.
You're right. We are so lucky. So lucky to be alive.
A terror in the hellish unknown, seeking warm, living flesh to drag down into the bowels of the earth.
In my father's chair. The mundane scenes around me were of Point June. They were slightly distorted and foreboding, as if they were hiding some message. Just as I knew now, the town was hiding some dark fear.
July 21st. My body temperature has dropped to 85. This morning I passed blood again. It's as if the thing that's taking over my body no longer needs human blood. as if the thing that's taking over my body no longer needs human blood.
They were fine, long, almost feminine fingers. He was ashamed of them in a way. He used to laugh and say that after the revolution he'd be shot. That pale hands were the mark of a decadent life. That's how I knew. Tom, why did they lie to me? Those weren't his hands. They were coarse and large. That wasn't my father.
Take all three of us. Wrong.
Isn't always fair and sunny. Life isn't always...
paid for his tune. Not just with money.
That scene was no doubt inspired by the playground scene in Alfred Hitchcock's classic The Birds, except here it's ghouls that gather around menacingly and not crows. If you've never seen Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, check it out and you'll see what I mean. Well, one down in a supermarket, one in a theater. You can never tell where the danger is going to strike from next. This is a jumpin' little town. We'll see what else jumps out at us after this.
For 2 million years in these subterranean caves, a creature of superhuman evil was entombed in a wall of ice, waiting to be free, waiting to live again. Travel with us on a journey into a world where nightmare becomes reality.
Are you telling me that an ape that lived 2 million years ago got onto that crate, killed the baggage man and put him in there?
Yes, I am. It's alive. It must be.
Travel with us, if you dare, on the Horror Express.
We'll search the train and find it, whatever it is, and destroy it. But if it's alive...
I want this kept quiet. I don't want to panic the passengers.
The malignant power of this creature is indestructible, transferring its force from mind to mind, from body to body.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
You think evil can be killed with bullets? Satan lives.
The animal that you shot was only the host. It's alive in someone on this train.
You saw his eyes. One look at them and you're dead.
Anything that moves near that door, kill it!
Run for your life. But you can't escape. No one can stop the fury and the terror of the Horror Express.
Been kissed by a woman like this? This is the story of an adventure so fantastic and horrible as to make a man of science doubt his senses. See the dance of destruction as Tarantula entices men to a strange fate. Lost women, lost because they were born without human souls. Children of abominable deviltry and twisted science, unleashed by insanity.
She has human beauty and intelligence, still possesses the capacities and instincts of the giant spider.
Who could have shot him? Nobody shot him. Look, these are not bullet wounds.
What could have killed him?
I don't know. I hope we won't have to find out.
Aren't you afraid, Grant?
I'm scared stiff.
If you're frightened, what do you call him?
I'm getting out of here.
The terror of mortal man, paralyzed with fear, bereft of reason, facing the horror of the giant hexapod.
couple blocks from here. We were watching TV when we heard them. They came crashing through the sliding glass door, making that noise, that awful noise. We tried to get the children, but they already had them in the hall. They went after them like sharks. My husband dragged me out, and we ran to some neighbors who had guns, but it didn't stop, and they kept attacking anyway. He's still there. You've got to help.
I can't.
What's wrong?
Your eye.
Great. Starting.
I'm very sorry.
July 28th. I cut myself this morning. My finger was nearly severed. Without feeling any pain, I ripped it off at the joint. I felt nothing at all. I'm disintegrating rapidly.
Attempting to solve the disappearance of a beautiful girl, the East Side Kids invade a haunted mansion and come face to face with sinister Bela Lugosi. The kids take the first round, but that's only the beginning of this terrifying night.
Well, there's a hot time in the old town tonight. Excuse me. Either Arletta got a hold of some bad shawarma, or that's the worst case of... Oh, look at that. We're going to continue on with Messiah of Evil while I go take an expectorant.
They killed up on the beach, but you still didn't leave. There's little time left. You'll have to go. Tell people on the outside. Warn them that what happened 100 years ago is happening again.
What?
Listen. Please listen. He came 100 years ago. A hunter first saw him. He told the hunter that he had been a minister and had come over the mountains with a Donner Party. He passed that horrible winter with them and saw men commit hideous acts. He said that he himself had eaten human flesh, but had survived because he had faith. Faith in a new master. The hunter didn't understand when the dark stranger said he was spreading this new religion. When they found the hunter, he looked as if he'd been attacked by some kind of animal, half-eaten. As he was dying, he told them of the dark stranger. And they assumed he was delirious. When he went into a fit, biting at them like a rabid dog, they shot him. The dark stranger watched the chaos. And he walked into the sea and said he would return 100 years later to a world tired and disillusioned. A world looking back to old gods and old dark ways. Our world. You've got to go now. Most of this town is infected. It's got to be destroyed before the moon turns blood red and he returns to lead them up the coast and inland into the cities.
We can both go.
They took me and they did this to me.
Assume the position and open your minds wide. It's time for your cranial cavity search. Yes, my lords and ladies, the cranial cavity search. Here's a chance for you great geeks out there to prove your geek cred by showing what you know. And tonight's cranial cavity search question is, in the early 1960s, legendary producer-director Roger Corman made a very successful series of movies based on the writings of Edgar Allan Poe. One of these films, though bearing a title inspired by Poe, was actually based on a story by H.P. Lovecraft. Which of these films is based on a story by Lovecraft and not Edgar Allan Poe? A. Mask of the Red Death. B. The Terror. C. Premature Burial. Or D. The Haunted Palace. Do you know, my lords and ladies? Ponder the possibilities while these folks try to plunder your pockets. And the answer to tonight's cranial cavity search question: which of these Roger Corman films was based on a story by H.P. Lovecraft and not Edgar Allan Poe? It was D. The Haunted Palace. Roger Corman decided to do a story by H.P. Lovecraft as a change of pace. So he based the film on The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, the story of a man who inherits an evil estate from his sorcerer ancestor. The film starred Vincent Price in yet another of his great horror roles, as well as Lon Chaney Jr. American International, co-producers of the movie, insisted that the movie be marketed as part of the Edgar Allan Poe line, and took the title The Haunted Palace from one of Edgar Allan Poe's poems and slapped it on the movie, even though it has nothing at all to do with the story. And now, my lords and ladies, on to the mad, mad conclusion of Messiah of Evil.
Arletty? 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 Arletty?
Why didn't you leave?
I came back here to get you.
Tom, it's too late.
I saw them in town. They're traveling in packs like wolves. I think the whole town... I was dreaming. We were in a forest, and it was snowing. The trees were wet, and you were looking up. And I asked you what you were thinking. You said you were thinking about all the people who were born and died. While the trees went on living. Then we came to a village and we spent the night in a wood room. The next day it was so cold. We stayed in bed to keep warm.
We must have made it out of the town. And then we saw the first one. They were coming down to the beach as they did every night, to stare at the ocean and wait. We could go no further. They were all around, watching us, staring at us, as if we were trapped animals, caught, already bleeding, yet still struggling hopelessly. We hoped to make it to one of the small boats on the horizon, and then we would drift out and head for safety down the coast. He was having trouble with his arm. I had hurt him. And now I couldn't help him. Boats didn't seem any nearer. And the last thing I saw was the setting sun. They hadn't let me drown. They had pulled me from the water. They had prevented my last escape. That night, most of the town was on the beach. They built their fires, not for warmth, but as beacons to be seen from the black ocean. They dressed me in an old gown. I was to be offered, and following their prophecy, the moon turned blood red, and the dark stranger returned. He let me go with a story that condemned me, knowing that they wouldn't listen. He was right. I made it back, and they put me here.
He told them of the dark stranger, and they assumed he was delirious. When he went into a fit, biting like a rabid dog, they shot him.
It was like
the night the moon turned blood
red and the moon got him.
Horrible, pale creatures
because
who were no
people were being jerked to what happened.
Crashed into farmhouses and gorged themselves.
You can do horrible things.
Foreign
animals. Folks were shooting on the streets 100 years ago.
During the day, they let me out with the others. We sit in the sun and wait. We sleep. And we dream. Each of us dying slowly in the prison of our minds.
Hold on to love. Hold on to love. So the moon above will not turn red with hate. Hold on to faith. Hold on to love. Hold on to love. But beware of men who became beasts of prey. How many are they? Child without a soul, man without a heart. They're one hungry goal to tear your life apart. How many are they? Don't try to find out. Stay away. They are without shame. This is not a game. From them stay away, or you could become one. I say, I gave my message to the wind. I told my story to the sea. Somehow, somewhere, someone may hear me. Hold on to love. Hold on to love. Hold on to
And so, in true Lovecraftian fashion, the only survivor of the otherworldly terror is condemned as insane. No matter how fervently she tries to warn the world, they will not listen. If you're a horror fan, and I assume you are, and you haven't read any H.P. Lovecraft, I highly recommend you get your hands on some of his writings immediately. His stories have inspired everything from The Reanimator and the Evil Dead to the Ghostbusters and the TV series Babylon 5. You have got to read some Lovecraft. But now, my lords and ladies, I want to thank you all for watching, and I want to invite you back again next week when we'll do whatever this is all over again. As always, I am Lord Blood-Rah saying, geek out.